Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and today we are going to talk about a subject near and dear to my heart. Animals as family members, not as teachers and healers. And this is in advance of my radio show this afternoon, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But again, welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin, and oh my gosh, it's a coffee kind of morning. It's a bright Monday morning in Seattle, Washington, and we are on day 3 of a windstorm. And I am so thrilled to be here, to be a member of the Old Times Experts community, to host a radio show at oldtimes.com. My show is every Monday afternoon at 2 Pacific time, the practical, intuitive mind, body, spirit for the real world. And join me this afternoon because we're going to be continuing to talk about animals as family members and what that means to us today. But we're going to cover a lot of things today: a meditation, a crystal of the week, a couple of readings for people who volunteer. But first off, let's do a guided meditation with the crystal Fallon. Now, my subject again today is animals as family members, not as teachers and healers. It's a pretty involved subject. We're going to cover it briefly, but while we do the guided meditation with Fallon, I want you to think about if you have animals as family members, or if you did, just imagine thinking of them as being equal to you and part of your family, and how that feels to you and how that might feel to them. So here's Fallon. Fallon is citrine Lemurian quartz, very rare crystal. And very rare in terms of his function. He's what I call an ancient power crystal. And, I should really cover that in an upcoming show, and we'll do that together. But today, imagine here, my job as an intuitive and spiritual consultant is really to promote you tapping your own intuitive and healing abilities, because we all have them. And while we're doing that with Fallon today, tap into him, in the way that your intuition works most strongly. So you may see images, you may hear him chat with you, you may feel his energy, or you may simply know that he's there with you, regardless of where you are in the world, or whether you're listening live or in a broadcast, in a rebroadcast. So if you take your attention to the top of your head, just imagine that you're breathing in mind, body, and spirit connection, just really just pulling all of that together. And starting at the top of your head, just breathe down your body and imagine your energy clearing out, and you're getting the cares of the day swept away, so that you have these few moments, these few minutes for yourself to boost your own spiritual growth and to be part of this amazing community. So, top of your head, breathe down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. Top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And just feel cares and worries and the busyness of the day, even anxiety if you have some today. It's Monday after all. Just feel that clearing out, and just feel your energy just getting revived. Now imagine Fallon rotating at your feet. It's kind of a goldish cast is the citrine. I know it's hard to see in the video, and actually even if you were here in real life with me, you would see his color change a little bit depending on light and depending on the energy work that he's doing. So imagine it rotating outside your body, and as Fallon moves up your body, imagine that healing energy flooding your heart and filling your heart with just this warm, loving energy. Every time your heart beats, it just floods your system. Amazing visual, right? Move up from your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, your third eye, and your crown chakra at the top of your head. You may feel a little bit lightheaded, which is normal with Fallon, with a huge burst of energy like that. And that's fine, because we'll close our crown chakras down at the end of the broadcast today. So again, welcome. Today I want to talk about animals as family members and not as healers or teachers. And wow, this is a really important subject to me. It's a really big deal to me. I've lived with animals from all but 12 years of my adult life, and I've seen a lot of things in my animal family, and in my practice as an intuitive and spiritual consultant, which includes animal communication. So I honestly do not know how we got to the point where we put the burden of our own spiritual development on our animals. I know that years ago there were some best-selling books out there that promoted this spiritual connection where animals taught us and healed us and were our gurus in little furry or hairy suits, or turtle suits or fish suits or whatever kind of suit they were wearing. I'm very concerned about that, and I'd like you to be open and think about it with me for a few moments, and then join me in my radio show this afternoon, where I'll be joined by animal communication and pet expert Tim Link, who's an awesome man and just a wonderful professional. And we're going to be talking about animals as family members this afternoon. But here's the thing. If we think of animals as our teachers and healers, I think we're putting the responsibility for our spiritual development on them. And it's not just a mistake, because that's our responsibility. But I think it can hurt our animals physically, emotionally, and spiritually, as well as in their roles as family members. And I think that's a mistake. And I think we need to rethink that thought. And again, I've lived with animals as family members for all but 12 years of my adult life. I've seen some really tough things in my own family and in my animal practice, and I've seen some amazing things. And part of it is that, I walk around in the world and I talk with everything, weather systems, volcanoes, trees, homes, buildings. So I know that everything has a soul. Everything has a purpose. Everything chose that particular body to grow its soul. And that's the important thing that we need to think about. What are our animal families doing in their process of growing their own souls? How can we support them as family members? And how do all of the souls in the family support each other? Because that's really where the focus should and could be. And here I'm going to add another little monkey wrench, and that's the subject of reincarnation. And I know this subject, I can cover this forever. We'll come back and talk about animals in future Facebook Lives on my radio show. But here's the thing. I'm living with reincarnated animals, and actually I've been doing it all my life and didn't know it for many, many years. My current animals are young, so I look at them as like, oh my God, how can I do this again? How can I raise babies and know that they're going to get old before me and go and die? It's hard, okay? But let's look at this really quickly. Oliver is a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. He's a reincarnation of my dog Alki, who died before he was ready to die, and announced and planned that he was coming back. I didn't at the beginning realize that he was bringing his memories back with him. But imagine trying to convince a breeder that, hey, you're sending a soul to him to be born, and just send me a picture and I'll tell you which one it is. I mean, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this, right? Karis, my Russian blue cat, will be a year old on February 10th. She's the reincarnation of Grace the cat, who died in September 2016. Swore she was not coming back, was going to mentor another cat to do the work that she was doing. Swore she was not coming back until she did. And she turned the afterlife upside down to get her way. You kind of think, well, that's a cat, right? Try talking to my dad in the afterlife about what happened. And I'll tell that in another story too, because it'll give you an idea on what we're talking about, really, when we say that, the universe has our back. Maybe it's something else. So here's the deal, though. My animals didn't come back for me. They didn't reincarnate to teach me or try to heal me or anything. They came back because they chose those bodies to grow their souls, right? And they chose to grow their souls in a family with me, which is a big honor and a responsibility for me, but it was also a responsibility for them. Why? Because we're family members. So each of you who has a dog or a cat or a horse or a chicken or a duck or whatever it is that you have as family members, you're there as family. You're there to support each other as family, to grow. And most likely you are members of a soul family together. And I know my family, that's the way it works. We've been around time and time again as humans, as animals, as, a whole bunch of things maybe I don't want to think about because I can imagine myself being all kinds of animals, but I kind of draw the line at snakes. I was like, oh my God, I hope I wasn't a snake. Because we all have our little prejudices, right? But here's a concept I just want to leave you with in this conversation today. And it's the concept of learning up with our animal families. It used to be for a long, long time that humans and animals banded together to survive, right? It was out of basic necessity. We needed to learn to hunt and to work together to keep each other alive. But now we are choosing to live together, right? When you take an animal into your family, when they choose to be family with you, we're making a commitment as a family, which is no deeper or no better than any other beings that we choose to be family with, including humans. But with animals, we're learning up from ancient necessity to heart and soul growth, right? Ancient necessity to heart and soul growth. And so we need to be thinking about doing it with respect for who they are as souls and animal bodies, right? That we're learning and teaching and growing together, and we're not putting the burden of our own development and our own welfare on these bodies. In future shows, I'll talk about, what happens when animals take animal communication bodies, at least as they've expressed it to me. But for today, I just want to leave you with this idea of thinking about your animals as family members, not as teachers and gurus, and how that fits in your family, what it looks like, what they're doing with you, what you're doing with them, and have a lot of fun with them, right? Life is short. You just never know where it's going to go. And our animal families are magnificent, and they're goofy, and they're growing their souls with us, like we're growing our souls. Nobody's responsible for anybody's soul but their own. So if you're listening live and you'd like a quick reading today, type in your name, type in a question, make it as specific as possible. I'll take 2 people. If we have time here, as we continue our discussion, I want to talk about a crystal of the week, give you some information on upcoming shows and webinars and what's going on. But if you have a question you'd like to look at with me today, I'd be so thrilled to help you with that. Take a look at it together, see what we think. But I'd like to also move on and just type it into the question box there. And we'll go from there. So today I'd like to also go on to the crystal of the week. So in thinking about this issue, which I know will rile a lot of people who were really absolutely convinced their animals are teachers and healers, to just back up a minute and think of rose quartz. Now, I'm not a person who really likes pink. I kind of grew up in a pink house, literally outside and inside it was pink. And I was a brat and kind of like traumatized by pink. But rose quartz is a very special crystal. It's easily obtained. You can even buy it in little heart shapes. And I'd suggest you buy one for yourself and for your animal family members. And here's the thing, because rose quartz is a crystal of unconditional love. And unconditional love just means we're not putting boundaries on our desire or willingness to love. Love ourselves first, love our family members, human, animal, whatever they are. But understand that we all make mistakes. We could all do better. We could all whatever, we're not perfect. And that's the cool thing, right? Because we get to keep learning. That's what we're here about, learning, growing our souls, learning and learning and learning and growing our souls together. And rose quartz, especially if you've been looking at talking with or working with your animals as, healers or teachers, to kind of back off from that, give them the rose quartz. You can put it near their beds. You can even buy little pieces that you could put on a pendant on their collars. Just, be careful to take the collars off at night when you're not around. I'm just very sensitive about collars. The rose quartz will help them readjust and not take the burden of caring for you. Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining me today. I love it when you're here. Thank you so much. Rose quartz takes the burden of any pressure we put on ourselves to be better than we are. Okay, Kathy, awesome. If you're learning significant life lessons from your animals, there we go. I can actually see your question. It means they are teachers. It doesn't necessarily have to wear, but yes. Yes, actually, Kathy, I really appreciate your comment. We are all learning significant life lessons. Alyssa, hang on a second. Oh, yes, I saw your email earlier. Alyssa, that's a long, hi, Nicole, thank you. Alyssa, that's really a long, involved subject. You're welcome to call into my radio show this afternoon, 202-570-7057. Tim Link will be joining me, the two of us together, but it's been going on for a long time in your house, and it's not an issue that can be solved in like a quick 5-minute conversation, but you're welcome to call in on that. And Alyssa, yeah, thank you. There's so many issues that could be going on with that. It's just too hard to cover it quickly. Kathy, yes, we are learning significant life lessons with our family members. That's one of the reasons why we come together as family members, right? To grow our souls together and to grow, yes, thank you, Alyssa. To grow our souls together, to support each other. Sometimes there are health issues. My first Cavalier, as you know, had serious health issues. It took 5 years to get her well. And I learned a lot from that. And I learned a lot about how animals too can be very strong empaths and try to pull everybody's feelings and so on into their bodies, and therefore upsetting them. Yes, we can learn from them. Thank you, Cheryl. That's awesome. We can learn from our animals just as they learn from us. The point I was trying to make in this conversation is that too many people put this burden of healing us and of teaching us on them, when we can pull back and learn that the purpose of coming together as family members is to grow together, and individually as well. And individually first, to boost ourselves, because we're responsible for our own soul growth. Yes, we teach them, they teach us, but not in the sense where we're dependent on them. And that dependency can create physical and emotional and spiritual issues. And I've seen it in my practice. And I'll talk about that more on the radio show this afternoon. Seeing animals who are just all hunched over because people are going, oh, you're my teacher and my healer. That's the kind of thing that I am trying to emphasize today. The over-reliance on pushing our own growth onto our animals. When in fact, yes, they're learning lessons on their own. We're learning by watching them. They're learning by watching us. I have discovered with my two recent animals that I have more of a temper than I thought I did. And I'm learning to moderate that. And I'm watching their patience with me. And I'm thinking, wow, I could be better. So yes, those kinds of things, yes. What I'm talking about is almost forcing the issue of them being there in charge of us, which is covered in a lot of literature, and the idea of a contract to come and heal us. That isn't really in the cards for them and for us, because first and foremost, we're responsible for ourselves. But yes, tremendous amount of things that we can learn. And we can also talk in future shows about what animals think about animal companion bodies. And that's the other thing. Animal companion bodies are kind of geared towards taking care of us. And that's kind of a cultural thing. It's like a thought form. So it's something that we need to look at. It's like, yeah, awesome. And what's really remarkable and wonderful about expanding our definition of families to include animals is how much we learn about being tolerant and being open to everything that's out there in the world and everything that's coming together to support this conscious evolving planet that we're part of. So if learning to look at animals as equals to us who have things to talk about with us, to teach us as we teach them and as we learn and grow together as family members, that is awesome. Because if we can do that, then how hard is it to be equal with other humans and to create a human community where we're all accepting of each other, regardless of what we look like or what sex we are or what anything else is, religion or anything else. So, yes, so we're getting close to the end here. So thanks for joining me today. Join us this afternoon at ohmtimes.com radio. My show airs at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern, the practical, intuitive, mind, body, spirit for the real world. The hour is on animals as family members. I'm thrilled to invite Tim Link, a famous and just a wonderful man, animal communicator and pet expert, to talk with us. And, if you have animals, consider rose quartz as something that can really support them and us in our journey as families together. It isn't always easy, but it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Cheryl, for joining us today. And now as we close out for the day, I want you to remember that at the beginning of the hour, we did a healing and a meditation with Crystal Fallon. Your crown chakra may be wide open, which you might be feeling a little lightheaded. So I want to get you grounded back into your bodies, right? So that you can go about your day and not be dizzy or lightheaded and just feel really balanced and centered. And I'd also like to invite you to check out my webinars at the Experts platform at ohmtimes.com. experts.ohmtimes.com/Robin Fritz. And on February 5th, I am teaching a webinar called Healing with Crystals for Self-Love. And we're going to be covering 9 different crystals that support us in loving ourselves and accepting ourselves. With Kim Valines of Earthlight Rocks and Gems here in Kirkland, Washington, who's a radio sponsor, but someone I've known for years as the healthiest and least expensive crystals out there. She has tons of rose quartz for Valentine's Day coming up. But that webinar should be a lot of fun. It's $15. It's February 5th at 5 o'clock. So it's a Monday afternoon, 2 weeks from now. And I have a couple of discount codes for the first couple of people who ask for them. But, the Facebook algorithms are changing. All kinds of things are going on. Ohm Times is working really hard to create this community, helping us reach you and helping you reach us to create this wonderful group of people that are really dedicated to growing our souls. So if you like what we're offering you, please like the Ohm Times pages, especially the Ohm Times Institute and the Ohm Times Magazine page. And I really appreciate likes on my Facebook page, The Practical Intuitive. I welcome friend requests, and I also welcome requests for subjects to cover on upcoming shows and upcoming Facebook Lives, because we're here for you. And we're here to support each other. So let's heal with the goddess to close out today. This is a goddess that I call Connie. Her name is much different than that. She's an ancient Celtic goddess who works between dimensions, which is appropriate for me and my animal family, because that's one of the things we do together. And she taught me this in a space clearing. So if you cross your hands on your heart, Nicole, thank you so much. You guys are so wonderful, and I'm so grateful to be part of this community. Cross your hands on your heart and imagine just breathing healing energy into the palms of your hands. And energy is sentient, so, it's already there. You're just breathing to. Thank you so much, Angela. And now just breathe into your palms and just feel that air on your palms, and then just hold them out. Just let that energy go wherever it will, going into the community, going into our animal families, blessing each one of us. And now let's bring that back into ourselves. So hands on your heart, breathe that energy into your palms of your hands. Imagine you as this divine being, this beautiful soul has taken this human body, just as your animals have taken animal bodies, right? We're families and we're a community together. breathing that love into your palms, breathing that air to remind you that you're breathing that in, and then back on your heart. To just feel that love and connection, and that gets you grounded and balanced back into your body for the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me today. If there are topics you'd like us to cover, chat about in the future, let me know. If you have like a reading, call in this afternoon or at any show or next week on Facebook Live. And I am so grateful for all of you. Thank you for joining me today. Let's continue the conversation.